Because of the following special program, Wonder Woman and the Incredible Hulk will not be presented this evening.
It's time to get all your Star Wars news in a single file. This is Making Tracks. Here are your hosts, Mark Newbold and Dave Tree.
That's not true. That's impossible.
You're listening to episode 7 of Making Tracks. I'm your co-host Mark Newbold, and here today with me, as always, is the one, the only, Mr. Introduce Yourself.
Who the hell's Mr. Introduce Yourself?
It's you, Dave. Do it.
No, I was going to say, like, I've been upstaged again. Like, you found someone else other than, like, the Uncle Buck of the team to come in on this.
Always be the Uncle Buck of the team.
Oh, you guys. How you doing, Mark? You good?
I'm very good. It's busy and life is good and there's stuff going on. It's been interesting. I nearly said something I shouldn't, but very warm. Very warm and seasonally
I was going to
warm.
say, what the audience really wants to know is it still hot?
It's still hot. It's a running theme. It's just how it is. But also, there's lots of Star Wars news going on. So obviously, we've got the wonderful news of the cast announcement from Episode 9, which came out a few days back, which is great news. Mark Hamill's back. They've worked out how they're going to deal with the Carrie Fisher, Princess Leia situation, which is all wonderful news. Everything is cool and everything is good. And Dave, how about you? As a seamless handover.
It's the summer holidays here in the UK. It's the busiest time of year for me because where I am based, it is a tourist area, so you get a lot of influx of people. And if it's nice and sunny, which it has been, you sell lots of super soakers and Nerf guns. And if it does take a turn for the worse, weather-wise, you then start selling loads of Lego and board games. It's very busy, it's very punishing, but like nobody makes me do it. I sign up for it. It's a lot of fun. I'm kind of nearing the point where I need a little bit of a rest.
You need a break, Dave, because I've got to say, I don't know anybody that works harder than you, mate. I don't know where you get the energy from. Are you pulling it from an alternate dimension? Are you powered by Duracell? I mean, what's the deal?
I'm kind of like one of the Dementors out of Harry Potter. So I'll just get random people and just like suck the life out of them. And I'm coming to the end of my current regeneration, which is why I'm a bit... So I need to like go out and find some fresh souls or
You're
something.
You're going to come back as a girl, aren't you? This is what happens when you regenerate. You've got to be very careful. As we speak, we've just come off the backside. That's a weird way of putting it. Of Fantha Day and Farthest Strong.
Whoa!
There's a mental image. And you've got a team there of people that help you out who are so invested in it and work so hard. Whatever you do, Dave, you do it well. And you've got people behind you that want to help out, which is always cool. There you go. That's all the nice things I'm going to say for you this episode. Because we need to get straight into all these talks.
You hit the quota.
I'm not hitting exactly. The bucket's full. Guests, all again from London Film and Comic Con. It was a busy show in the Star Wars Zone, brought to you by Fantha Tracks. And there was loads going on. We had the Rebel Legion there. We had the UK Garrison there. We had Tops there exhibiting with all their wonderful stuff. The Joker Squad was there. There was guests. It was busy and buzzing and really good fun. And all the cool stuff were there as well. Also, in that area, there were some guests. Let's kick it off. The first guest that we spoke to was Kim Falkenberg. Kim was one of the, I guess, she never really gave her a title, but her dad was the associate producer on the original Star Wars. Didn't take a credit. So she was kind of working as a runner, I would say, on the film, like a production assistant. I didn't know her story. I'm so glad that me and Sander went over and sat down and spoke to her, because here's 8 minutes of us talking to Kim Falkenberg, and this is absolute gold. Enjoy.
You were in the original Star Wars.
Yes, I was.
Tell us a little bit about the roles you played. What was the story there?
I originally started out in the special effects department in Industrial Light and Magic.
Right.
And I did office work, production assistant, that kind of stuff. And then as far as for the cantina scene, they had shot all of that in England, but George wasn't happy with all of it, so he had the costumes shipped over and wanted to do certain scenes, and the costumes really only fit smaller people. So several of us from ILM went to a soundstage and just spent a day shooting different things, and I happened to play 3 different characters.
Okay. Tell us a bit about the characters you played.
First one was in the band, And they had some music going in the background, but it wasn't the actual music that they used.
Can you remember what the music was?
I have no idea. And then I also played, I don't really know 100% for sure what the name of the character is, but I had a big green head and red eyes. And for that one, it was interesting because you couldn't breathe in the mask.
Yeah.
So they had to feed me oxygen through a tube.
Wow.
And so when they started to shoot, they took it out, and as soon as they yelled cut, they had to put it back in because you couldn't breathe in it.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was
Risky.
but I was 40 years younger, so
Sure.
I thought it was fun.
Yeah.
And then I also played Trinto Dwaba.
Yeah.
And on that one, they wanted real eyes, but they didn't want to be able to see, the skin.
Yeah.
So they had to blacken my eyes, and I was fine with that.
Yeah.
So
So what was the process like? I mean, obviously you're wearing a full mask for one character. You're bit members, the band members, so that's a full mask.
Yeah.
Trinto was more of a makeup job. So what was involved for you? Because presumably
well,
going up.
actually, with Trinto, the only thing they did was have to put black stuff around my eyes.
Yeah.
The rest of it was a mask that I just put on. So it was, easy enough to get the costumes on and off. And they filmed all 3 of the sets that I was in one day.
Really?
Yeah, it went very quick.
So
Yeah. They knew what they were looking for.
I was going to say they'd done the early edit and found what they didn't like. So obviously, famously, when they filmed it in the UK in '76, it was all about hot summers. How hot was it for you in California? Was it?
It's always warm. We don't get real cold weather that much. If we get cold weather and it's 50 degrees, that's cold for us. Some people would appreciate that. But it was going to be hot in the costumes no matter what, just because of the confined space. But, it was fun, and like I said, I was a lot younger then, and to me it was an adventure. And then, the next day, I went right back to work.
So what was it like working for Lucasfilm then? Because obviously they'd come off Graffiti, which had been a big hit, and there was a bit of time sort of bubbling over while Star Wars was put together.
Right.
Was it an interesting company to work for at that time?
We had no idea how huge it was going to become. And so unfortunately, I didn't save any of my crew T-shirts or anything that would have been of any value because I thought, well, it doesn't really matter. And my father was the associate producer, but he did not take screen credit. And so that's basically how I got involved. I met George, and he just looked at me and said, "Okay, fine." So
it was a good experience. You enjoyed the time.
Oh yeah, it was a lot of fun because all of the guys in the model shop and stuff, we were like one big happy family. We would do stuff outside of work. We'd go camping and have parties and things like that. So it was a lot of fun.
I've interviewed a few of those guys, Dennis Muir, and
Yeah.
Phil Tippett, those guys, and they all say the same. How it was this real sort of cool atmosphere.
Exactly.
It really was like that.
Oh yes, yeah. It was back in those days, you could get away with really skimpy outfits, and I had short shorts and a tank top and stuff like that. We had one day that was really fun. Somebody had bought an airplane exit chute, and we put it in the driveway and put water on it. It became a slip and slide. That was fun. So we did, silly fun stuff like that. Yeah.
The work got done.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Still got done. Sometimes people would work, really late, but it was a labor of love for everybody. Everybody just loved what they did. So.
How long did you stay with Lucasfilm for?
I only was there for Star Wars, the first one, sometime in '76 until '77, and at that time, when we were done, most people went up north with George up to the Bay Area. But I personally didn't go because I had family and stuff down in Southern California. And I really didn't care. I mean, I wasn't like I couldn't like do models or anything like that. I wasn't visually, effects-wise, creative. I was more of an office type person.
Next for you after that?
After that, I worked on Ghostbusters and China Syndrome and just maybe a couple of other things, and then I just kind of got out of the industry.
You felt you'd done your bit?
Yeah, because I had started with my dad when I was 14, so I had already put in enough years, and it wasn't really exciting. It was a job, and I wanted to do something that wasn't just a job. So.
And looking back now, all these years later, we're still here in this Star Wars zone talking about it. Obviously, you never had any concept of it.
Oh no, not at all. No idea. I don't think so. They were hoping, but I don't think so. I mean, from what I understood, there were 2 studios that turned George down at first because they were like, what the heck is he doing? This isn't going to work. Yeah, but I mean, we're glad that it worked. So.
I suppose you think of all those record labels that turn the Beatles down. It's that sort of thing, isn't it?
Exactly. So.
Well, thanks for your time.
Oh, you're welcome.
It's good to meet you. Thanks for
It's good to meet you. Okay, bye-bye.
It's always cool when you speak to these people who worked on the original trilogy. Not that it's not fascinating talking to people who've worked on any other Star Wars film, but there's just something about the original movies. It's just absolute gold. And this lady was there with the ILM guys when they were sort of, they made the swimming pool in the back lot and the, all the crazy stories you hear about ILM. And she was there in that summer of 76 working for Lucasfilm. And all those stories you hear are just amazing, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, again, from those early days, things are not quite structured. There is no kind of like rigidity and procedures in place. So you couldn't get away with that now. There's just no room for it because, there's just so much stake and so much pressure. To hear the hijinks and japes that, took place back then is just so cool. And also, as kind of sad as it is to sort of, you're running out of opportunity to get that down, documented in one form or another. Be it in a digital audio format like this, or as a written interview and things like that. Because we're talking 40 years ago, and people's memories. I can't even remember yesterday now. How'd I get here? If it's not been documented and talked a billion times over, cemented in the brain, where you're going through the motions at every show and things like that, it's amazing. It kind of just give that spark, that signpost to those memories and get people talking again in this format. Actually, getting that down. I mean, it's gold dust. It really is gold dust. And for idiots like me who literally just love that, it just makes your day, doesn't it? So well done you.
Hello, I'm Warwick Davis, and you're listening to Fanthatrax.
Our next guest was Marsha Parkin. Now, Marsha was on our booth in the Star Wars Zone. Claire had a chance to sit down with Marsha at the end of Saturday and have a chat, and you'll hear it in here. This was her first interview as well. So this is Claire talking to Topps trading card artist Marsha Parkin.
Claire here. I'm at London Film Comic Con. It's almost closing time, not quite. Marsha and I are sitting here relaxing after a very busy day. How's it gone for you?
It's been great, Claire. I've had a really good time. I've met some friends. I've made some new friends.
So what we should say is, Marsha, tell everybody what you do and how it all came about.
I'm a sketch card artist for Topps, mostly Star Wars, but other sets. And that came about by basically myself being cheeky and asking a friend who I need to contact to get in a job like that.
So something quite extraordinary happened today with one of your fans.
My friend and one of my biggest fans, David, went over to the Topps booth and bought himself a pack of black and white cards and thought he'd come over to my table so we could open them together and just to see, what he got out of that box. And to both our utter amazement, he pulled one of my sketch cards.
So what are the odds of that happening? We have sat now, counted all the cards and worked out the odds of one of your fans picking up your card, doing it with you here now. So tell us, what are the odds?
I think the only answer to that is 1,370 to 1 against.
But it was brilliant, wasn't it? It was just like such a shock to see him. He just pulled it out and it was yours.
Yeah.
So what's been the best bit about being at London Film Comic Con today?
I just say that is probably the best bit, but it's been really great to be here with Fan for Tracks and my friend Matt. It's lovely of him to invite me down. It was great to meet Mike Quinn, who I've known for a while but never actually met. And I've met a lot of my fellow Tops artists, and it's nice to see them face to face and and get to know them in person rather than just on Facebook.
And I've seen that you were chatting to them and having a good old conflab about techniques and things like that. Can you tell people what technique you use, how you come about your cards and what sort of things you do? I've been watching you today and you've just been blasting out couple of cards, and it's just been fantastic to watch.
Well, it's a basic sort of comic book technique. I lay down a pencil sketch, quite rough, and then go over it in ink pens, and then I use Copic markers and a plethora of other different markers as well, and blend them. And then a little brushed white outline. That was what we were talking about with Jamie today. And that's pretty much it. And I like to seal them as well so that they'll last a nice long time. And those are my colour cards. And I do also pencil, which is just pencil graphite.
If you could choose one card or a character or a scene or something that you would like to do.
One that I would like to do.
One that you've done, and then one maybe a future project?
I would really, really love to be on the new, if they do Kenobi movies, I want to do all sorts of Kenobi stuff. That would be brilliant.
Is that your favourite character then, Kenobi?
No, actually Boba Fett's my favourite character, and anything to do with Troopers and R2.
So is that why then you and Matt Booker now are all together and friends? Because he also is a big Boba Fett fan, isn't he?
Most fans are big Boba Fett fans, and the ones that aren't, they really hate him for some silly reason, so yeah.
I do like them. I'm just going to declare that now. I do. We've got about another hour left. For me, the highlight's just been here at the table, meeting everybody, chatting away to everybody, getting all our names out and everything. Are you going to do one more card for the road, or is that it? Are you done for now?
I just did a small sketch in a friend's, his lads. I bought a little sketchbook. So that was my last piece of art for the day. It takes a little while to do them, and I don't want to be rushed because I'm doing official cards today, not my personal cards. So I'd like to put my best into them. So as we're winding down, I don't think there's enough time left, no.
I think there's enough time now for a gin and tonic. I think it's a sensible time now, do you know?
I think there's always time for a gin and tonic.
Marsha, it's been lovely talking to you today. I know we're going to get to chat again, and you'll come back on our podcast and talk girly things with us about your artwork and everything. What you do is just fantastic. Thanks very much for being my first interview for Fan the Tracks podcasts, and I believe it's yours as well.
It is my first interview ever.
It's a Fan the Tracks exclusive.
And thank you for having me.
It's been a pleasure. I have loved being with you guys all day today. Thanks very much, Marsha.
Thank you. May the force be with you all.
And may the force be with you.
One of the things I like about when we do these different panels and do these different events, like Fan Today, is having people come and join us and sit on the table or mooch around with us. On Saturday, for example, Details worked on all the new films. Matt had a chance to give him a walk around LFCC because he'd not seen any of these big conventions, and then Dee came down to Fan Today, which we'll talk about more on the next episode. But it was nice to have Marsha on the table as well, not only because she was just really cool, but watching the process and watching her work. It's always cool to see these people at close hand, isn't it?
Yeah, no, definitely. I didn't actually get the chance to talk to her, but I purchased a piece of artwork off her a few years back, and it was a probe droid. I don't know why, but I just saw it, and I think it was on Facebook. I purchased it. That's really cool, and nobody ever draws a probe droid. You have your stable of characters, like Fett, and that is amazing. Prior to working for Tops, and it's really quite cool to see that she's grown into this whole new area and reaching out to a whole new audience of people through the medium of the trading cards, because they're so popular and people are buying these things. And how cool is it to actually get something like that if you open up that packet? You know, you've got a one-of-a-kind item there. Nobody else has got that, that sketch card there. That's like so special. Topps doing that as a medium is really great. And then to have people that you kind of got 6 degrees of separation of like knowing that they're now doing that as well. It's like, yeah, that's really cool.
Before Marshall recorded with Claire, me and Marshall having the chat, and I said, what would you love to happen? She goes, I'd love somebody to open a pack here and get one of my sketch cards and blow me it happened. It actually happened. We saw it happen. I wish we'd recorded the reaction because everybody around the table went nuts. What are the odds on that? Literally, what are the odds of pulling a pack, any old pack, and it's her sketch card being opened at our table? That was just ridiculous.
I don't know. We need 3PO. Where is he with like the stats when you need him?
It's Tuesday night. Time to get all your Star Wars news in a single file. Welcome to Making Tracks.
So over the last few months, we've accrued quite a few interviews from various places that we've been. We've been travelling around a lot. We've done LFCC, we've done Fantha Day, we've done Farthest From. The guys have been over to Finse in Norway, where we visited the original shooting locations for Empire Strikes Back. And at the back end of last year, one of the most important events we did was Dave Prouty's last ever Star Wars convention. And one of those guests there was Colin Skeeping, who was a stuntman on the original trilogy. This is me and Paul Naylor having a chat with Colin.
First time you worked with Dave?
It would be on the Empire Strikes Back, yeah.
And what was your interaction with him working on that film?
Mostly the sword fighting stuff. While Peter Darman, stunt coordinator, was rehearsing with Mark Hamill, I'd rehearse with Dave to get him up to scratch on it, and then we put the two actors together, and then they would do the fight, and then I would step in for the stunt part of it, and Bob Anderson would step in to double Dave for the sword fighting stuff. Because Bob was Dave's double, and he was a former Olympic fencing champion.
Did you pick up any injuries on set?
That was not really. I mean, the worst one was in Norway, in Finse on the Empire Strikes Back, where the helicopter I was hanging under went out of control.
Yeah.
I was supposed to go up 30 feet, just let go and drop into the soft snow, but because the blades of the helicopter, unbeknown to us, had been bent the night before when they shoved it back in the hangar, it went up and he lost control, and I was only hanging on by a pendulum because I had to let go, so I wasn't harnessed.
So that was for Luke Skywalker dressed
as Luke Skywalker, yeah. And I suddenly realised we were way up above where we should have been and way offline. I could see the crew down there, small dots, and there was only rocks underneath me. And it was as he was trying to fight to get the helicopter under control that I was starting to swing like a pendulum, backwards and forwards, and I knew I couldn't hold on for very long. And as I looked down, I could see to my left was pure white, underneath and to the right was rock. So I waited till I swung maximum to the left and I let go. And I somersaulted through the air. Very lucky, went into a deep snow drift about 4 feet from the rocks.
Wow.
And I had a twisted ankle, and that was all.
Yeah.
You're very lucky.
I was going to say, did that slow you down much, or wasn't it too bad?
No, I mean it didn't stop me working, and then we built a tower on the frozen lake. So I jumped off the tower to simulate Luke Skywalker having attached the bomb to the underneath the walker and then dropping back down into the snow.
Yeah. So when you were working with the other actors, who was the quickest study? Did some pick it up pretty quick? Did some take longer, or were they all pretty much on point?
I don't get. How do you mean?
In terms of picking up moves and stuff that you were showing people?
Oh, right, on the set. Well, Mark was quite good at picking stuff up. Harrison Ford was good to work with. Dave was fine. The only thing is that it just took a little bit longer to pick up the sequences. And of course, working with Bob Anderson was great because he was an expert in his field. But everybody worked well together, there was no problem.
Yeah. Now, probably, for people who've seen your work, the most famous shot is going through the window.
Yes, it seems to have created a bit of a thing, basically because they wanted initially to do it with wires and they were going to build a whole set with wires. I said, you don't need to do that. I said, I'll do it for real. And because I was a gymnast, I just did a round off a backflip and then it was a high uncoordinated back somersault and went through the air and came down on the mat. So I achieved in half a day what they were going to set aside for about 3 days of ringing and rehearsing, because it never looks right on wires, because you don't describe an actual path.
That's right.
And how much of a run-up did you need? Not too much?
No, not a lot. I mean, but less than from here to the wall. Probably about half that.
Could you recreate it for us?
I'm afraid not. Not in my present. The body no longer functions as I would like it to. The mind still works.
Yeah.
How many times did you have to actually do that stuff?
I did about 2 or 3 times, in a couple of slightly different ways.
Yes.
One I rotated much more, and on another one I did it very slowly, with very less rotation. Not quite sure which one appeared in the final production. I know that with the photographs there was some of each on the still.
Yeah. And what was Kirsch like to work with? Obviously, he was kind of famous for being fairly quick and fairly swift.
Oh yeah, I liked him. I mean, a lot of people found him not particularly as communicative as he could have been, but I liked him. I got on well with him. I thought he was a good guy.
And if you had to sum up your Star Wars experience, 'cause obviously you did stuff on other films as well, how would you sum it up, looking back now on your time on those films?
Well, they were memorable, more so as time's gone by, because of course doing the first one, for me it was a kiddie science fiction film, 12 weeks shoot, and then I was off immediately into something else, and so I didn't think any more about it. It was done and dusted, that was it, until a couple of years later I realised how successful it had been. Peter Diamond rang me up and said, look, we've got another much bigger one to do, are you interested in doubling Mark again? I said, yeah, fine. So the Empire and Return of the Jedi were obviously much bigger, and they were 9 months sort of work on each. Yeah.
Brilliant. No, just say, have you got one favourite memory at all on set? Is there anything in particular that stands out?
I think that my favourite location was Crescent City, California, where we did the stuff with the giant redwood forests with the Ewoks. It was just a lovely non-touristy location where we were, and there were lovely people in the town, and it was a marvellous couple of weeks doing that. Yeah,
that's fantastic. Thank you very much for your time.
All right,
thanks.
We've got 2 interviews from Star Wars Fan Fun Day. The first is Sean Cronin. He was a Senate guard in The Phantom Menace.
So here at Star Wars Fan Fun Day, I'm here with Sean Cronin.
Hello.
We're in the sun.
In the sun.
By the window, with the football pitch. How are you finding your day?
I'm loving it. I think it's great fun. I've done quite a few of these. Done the big NEC, MCM ones, and this I like. It's much more intimate. It's much more friendly. It's like a family kind of business, and I love it. It's great. I've had a really nice, relaxed day. Got a bit of a hangover from the dinner last night, but it's brilliant. Lovely people, great event.
I was going to say, because it's very much a mixed crowd. You got collectors obviously pitching at all the vintage stuff over there, but there's lots of kids, lots of little lightsaber fights happening.
Yeah.
Do you kind of dig that as well?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I'm a single dad. I wish I brought my girls with me. I didn't realise how family, although the name should have given it away, Star Wars Family Fun Day. That was the clue, was in the name. But of course, I didn't think to work out what the SWFFM was. Yeah. But no, brilliant. I love it. Really great. Been a real pleasure.
Now, tell the listeners a little bit about your role in The Phantom Menace.
Well, listen, I started in film 20 years ago. I was walking down Portobello Road and someone said, you look really evil. Do you want to be in The Mummy? And I found myself painted gold, pubes, legs and eyebrows gone, painted gold, wearing a nappy. And then I walked into the set of ancient Egypt, and then I got, this is just an extra role playing one of the Senate guards in Star Wars, and I got a little piece in Bond, and then I got a real agent, and now I play main villains in big parts. But that was kind of what started me and what triggered it, and what's being on that ramp with, I can't remember who, Alec Guinness was there, Natalie Portman. I mean, the buzz. It's wow, it was just a great franchise and a wonderful feeling. And it's what it gave me the bug, being on those. The Mummy obviously the Phantom Menace and Bond, and I just got. I mean, it was a glorified extra or featured extra.
Yeah.
But it just gave me the buzz, and now I make a damn good living out of being a villain.
So you've got very fond memories of your time working.
Oh, absolutely loved it. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
And remember having a cup of tea with Natalie Portman. She was about 15 of them.
Yeah.
Really young. She was a handmaiden. Yeah. Just amazing, brilliant buzz, brilliant.
There's worse jobs.
There is definitely worse jobs. It's a bit sporadic, the work, as you know, but I'd rather be doing this than mowing that football pitch.
I was going to say, that's a mighty big football pitch.
Yeah, it is.
So were you a fan of Star Wars before you were part of Star Wars?
Yes, I mean, of course, when the very first ones came out, I don't know, when was the first
77?
one?
77? Well, 78 in the UK, really.
So I was probably 10, 12, 13 then, and I was just like, wow, what's this? And even now, when you look back at the special effects, and they weren't as good as they are now, but they still so charming. And even as a kid watching it, I was immersed in that world, and I believed in it, even though you look back now and perhaps the CGI is not as good as it was, but it still did what it was meant to do, and I love it, absolutely love it.
So when you were a kid, they'd be looking at an action figure of your character right now. When you were a kid, what character would you have liked to have played?
Darth Maul, I think that would have been a good one of him.
That would have been a good one.
Yeah, for my face. But I mean, you never know what's around the corner. I mean, because I'm only recognisable through a helmet on the film, so you never know what might be next.
That sounds like fun. Brilliant. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, bro.
Really
Thank you very much.
Thank
Nice
you.
one. Cheers.
Now, this one was a really cool one. Paul Casey. Paul, you'll know from all of the new Disney era of films. He played a number of characters. He was Edrio Two Tubes in Rogue One. He was involved in lots of other characters. But the coolest thing about this interview was it was literally seconds after he'd been inducted into the UK garrison. So this is Paul on Cloud 9 talking to me at Star Wars Fun Day in Burnley after his garrison induction.
So we're here at Burnley. I'm here with Paul Casey. He's literally just been inducted into the UKG. How do you feel?
Oh my God, it's amazing and it's an honour.
Yeah?
It is truly to become part of the 501st. Absolutely, yeah.
You were not expecting that. I can tell from your face you weren't expecting that.
No, I got an inkling it may happen, but nevertheless, it's exciting and it's something to be a part of that I'm very proud of as well.
So you've done a lot of conventions now, being out and about.
Yes.
And doing stuff.
Yeah.
When you've seen the UKG, the 501st, the Rebel Legion doing their thing, what have your thoughts been? Do you find it inspiring? Do you find it interesting? What are your thoughts of it?
All of the above. I find it inspiring. I think actually what I love most about it is it's the family unit in all of them, and the camaraderie between them, their friendships. It's truly amazing. It is truly a special thing.
And
it is.
In terms, you mentioned family.
Yeah.
We're at Star Wars Fan Fun Day, which
Yes.
a lot of UK collectors and fans find the most familial, the most friendly, the most
Yes.
welcoming. How are you enjoying your time here?
Yes. Oh, it's been an amazing day, an absolutely, truly amazing day. I mean, we've been blessed with the weather as well.
We really have.
But nevertheless, the people that have come through, and I've spoke to everyone that has come to my table, and it's just one big family, and people come along with their children. And what's been so lovely is that even though it's been steady all day, there's been that time to be able to chat to people, and to give them an insight into my world and into the world I work in, which is lovely.
The chance that you can actually have a word with the little kid and say,
Absolutely.
this was me, or...
Well, absolutely, because who knows, in years to come, they could be the people who are in these movies, or they can aspire to whatever they want. I mean, I'm a true believer. Anything is possible. I really am.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
Now, we've got Raddus behind us.
Yes.
Which is a particular favourite because we love Rogue One.
Yes.
You've done some other stuff as well. Just explain to our listeners some of the characters that you've been involved with in the films.
So on The Force Awakens, I played LOSD. And then on Rogue One, like you mentioned, I played Admiral Raddus and Edro Two Tubes. And then on The Last Jedi, I played Kyth Renali. Yeah. Now, Kyth Renali is same species as LOSD, but he's a different character.
Okay.
But nevertheless, they're both pilots.
Now, was it the same costume? Was it the same make? Or had there been any finessing? Because I know the guys are always working at making the motors smaller and changing things. Was it the same one, or?
No. I think it was different. It had been refurbished and the costume was a different costume.
Yeah.
And when you actually look at both pictures together, you can see the differences in their colouring and everything like that. So, yeah, I mean, I mean, I have to say, just on every level, working on Star Wars, the level of detail is truly, truly amazing. Yeah, it is.
You must be having a blast.
I am. I truly am.
Yeah.
I just smile.
Yeah.
And I just don't stop smiling, whether I'm at work or whether I'm, meeting the fans, on events and things like that. Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, as we all know, Star Wars is globally adored by so many people, and to just be a part of that is amazing. It is.
That's brilliant. We'll let you carry on because there's people there.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Cheers. Thank you very much. Take care.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So that brings us to the end of episode 7 of Making Tracks, another blockbuster award-winning podcast. I'm sure we'll win some awards. We'll have to make some up.
I think so.
Well, I hope so. I've got no illusions of winning anything.
I'm pretty sure it would get the Lightsaber Podcast of the Month award.
God, you remember that? Blimey, yeah.
Yeah, it's the only one I ever got. So, damn right, I'm going to remember it.
God, that's going back about 20 years. Good grief.
Yeah. Was it Website of the Month, wasn't it?
We did Website of the Month. It was the Site Award of Excellence. I think Ultimart won it, didn't it?
This is completely diverting on people.
Big time.
6 degrees of separation for Star Wars fans. So we're going back nearly 20 years now. Like Mark, his roots in the world of online Star Wars was the excellent website Lightsaber, spelled re.co.uk. And I ran a toy price comparison site, which nowadays is 10 a penny, but there was literally nothing like that there. And I ran that with Simon McCowan, who, if you're a vintage Star Wars fan, he's one of the hosts of the Vintage Rebellion. Mark awarded the website that we ran Lightsabers Website of the Month award. It was a little JPEG thing that you sent to us, and we put that up on the website. And again, another 6 degrees of separation. Again, for listeners of the Vintage Rebellion, one of the former hosts on there, Grant Criddle won one of our competitions, and again didn't know anything about it until it came up in conversation, and he's like, "Oh my god, I won the Millennium Falcon that you guys did." It's like, wow, it's like really small world. Yeah.
It's weird when you get these, because we are really diverting for the end of the show. When you and me first met, it was at the Fox Pub at the first Celebration Europe.
Yeah.
I can't remember which way around. Was it you recognised my T-shirt or I recognised yours? It was one way or the other, wasn't it?
No.
You had a Palatoy Archive T-shirt on or something?
Yeah. So I was running the Palatoy Archive, which is another silly project that I got involved with.
You made someone's head cry, so it was good.
Oh god, it was painful. But so we had these really cool Boba Fett helmet T-shirts, which were based off anybody who's into the vintage collectibles. Palatoy did a mail away premium campaign using this graphic, and that became the graphic for this exhibit that we did for the first celebration, which was a showcase of all of the original toys that were produced in the UK as they were first released. And it was the first time that anything like that had ever been put together and publicly displayed and stuff like that. It was amazing and horrific in equal measure. But just as I am now, absolutely pooped, I was outside in the Fox, and I think I was queuing up for a Pimm's or something like that, because they had gondola things outside serving drinks, or maybe it was bottled beer, and you just went, "Oh, I really like your T-shirt." I remember you saying that because it was is an image that anybody in the UK would recognise from the Palatoy days. And I was like, "Oh, thank you very much." And it was either your lanyard or something like that there. And then I was like, "Oh, yeah." And I was like, "Yeah, hang on a second. As in Mark Newbold from Lightsaber." And then you were like, "Yeah." And I said, "Oh, I don't know if you might remember this, but I used to run a website and we used to chat all the time. I'm Dave Tree, and it used to be Ultimart." And at that point, you just went, "Lewis!" Well, Louis, because he was just there, because it was the guy who used to run it with. He was only round, and he came over and was like, "Oh, look, it's Dave." I was like, "Oh my god." Simon had left the Star Wars fandom at that point. Whilst he's a host on Vintage Rebellion now, he's only come back into Star Wars collecting in the last 5 years or so. So at that point in time of the first Celebration Europe, those were kind of his wilderness years. He came back. He grew an extra foot, Lost hair as a result. Became a little bit more uglier, but that's the side we love. But yeah, in weird, crazy way, we all found each other in one form or another again.
I still think I'll look back and think that first celebration was pretty, in the UK anyway, I think that was pretty much the most important event in sort of bringing everyone back in the same place and connecting and making friends. It was that was a very special event, that was.
Oh, it was mental.
But we'll talk about this more, I'm sure there's loads of other things we could talk about in relation to this, but we will talk about it more in a future episode. We're giving away gold here, man. In the end credits, we're giving away gold. So where can people find you, Dave, if they want to?
Crime Watch.
Yeah, it's always a good 9 o'clock BBC One.
Yeah, Interpol. Alright, but you can find me. I'm still pretty bad at getting myself organised on the social media side of things. So you can find me on Facebook at All the Cool Stuff, both physically and online, because I run a small toy shop on the edge of the New Forest in Hampshire. So you can come down to the shop and come and say hello. I'll make you a nice cup of tea. Or you can find us on All the Cool Stuff on Facebook, or Farthest From, which is the vintage toy show that we do, which is also part of Fantha Day. We run the YouTube channel. When I say we, it's more Martin Keeler, who is the cornerstone of the whole operation there. But new videos are produced every Wednesday and Saturday, and there's great content on there, ranging from toy reviews, the latest toy reviews and releases, in some cases going back to some of the favourites that have been picked up or oddball bits and pieces, interviews, and so much more on there. If you haven't already, please subscribe on there. And in fact, that applies to all of our social media, be it on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or YouTube. Give us a like, give us a follow, and share with your other Star Wars friends as well, because we hugely appreciate it. So thank you very much. What about yourself, Mark? Where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at prefect_timings. That's where I talk about life of the universe and everything, and Star Trek-y stuff, because I do a bit of Star Trek writing. But you will mostly find me on the Fantha Tracks Twitter feed. You'll find me on Facebook. I can never remember what my Facebook profile is, but just type in Mark Newbold. You'll either find me or a mathematician from Ohio. It's one or the other.
I friended the wrong one.
You did, sorry. Yeah, he's the smart one. He's the smart one with air conditioning. That's the difference. And you'll also find me mincing around at Fantha Tracks, doing stuff in the back end. Breaking news: we may very well be at Preston Comic Con on the 29th of September, but it's looking like we're going to be travelling all the way to Preston to do that one, which should be fun. There's always something going on in Fantha world. Stay tuned, and we'll be back very soon with episode 8. More nonsense and hilarity. And that's me signing off. Goodbye, Dave.
Goodbye, Mark.